kosher.
Different men have came and gone, but their legacies will last forever. But now, who is going to step up to the plate? Who is going to lead by example? Who is going to be the new leader of the Brotherhood?
Yeah, it's time.
Oh, good afternoon. I'm Justice Robinson, man. Big shout out to myself for making it this far. Big shout out to everybody that put this together. And big shout out to my son, baby. We got work to do, Carter. Let's go.
Hi, my name is KARINA Houston, owner of Hopper Web Designs and your favorite training and development specialist. And I'm here with the Love Doctor.
Hey, what up? What up? What up? What up? RONALD Jr. here. How many sacrifices are you going to actually take just to get to where God called you to be?
Hi, I am KARINA King, the weight loss coach and the owner, creator, founder of Gym Time, the premier weight loss program. I'm so excited to be here and excited about talking about this topic.
My name is SHAWN, leader of Read, Pray, Share. I'm happy to be here. Everyday Love is a good platform, one that's well needed for men in this community.
It's the man, it's the myth, it's the legend, it's the Love Doctor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am LIVINGSTON, aka the Love Doctor, in the building on the set of Everyday Love. You know what I'm saying? Brotherhood season finale. Give yourself a round of applause for coming. Look at the love. Now I got something to hype up the crowd. One time. When I say everyday, y'all say love. Everyday. Love. Everyday. Love. Hey, I need God to hear that on his throne in the heavens right now. So we're gonna do this again. When I say everyday, y'all say love. Everyday. Love. Everyday. Love. Ooh, that sounds good. So one thing that we do, each and all my guests know that we clap it up before the show starts, because we're going to get that positive energy going. Everything going to be all right. Come on, you hear me? Yes. So when I start clapping, we all going to clap and rejoice at the same time. You ready? Yes. Set. Let's go! And we had to come together to make this magical moment happen. And so, y'all might be wondering what we have in our hands. And so these are letters that have been wrote to Everyday Love. Letters and questions that need to be answered. And so why not bring my guest on the show to answer the questions? So we got guests in the audience, we got guests on stage. At the end of the day, what matters is these questions will be answered. So I'm going to start off on one of the first questions. It's from Miss Alexis from San Antonio. Give Miss Alexis a hand. She said, hey, Everyday Love. What's up, girl? I love this show. Thank you. I have a question. How does being a man have to do with how you treat a woman? Or does it? Now that's a question that a lot of people ask themselves. How we judge men off of how they treat a man. I mean, how a man treats a woman, but does that mean he's not a man? Or does that mean he is a man?
Just being a man. I would say the first thing being a man is how he treats himself, how he treats his mom, how he treats his family, is family oriented. And then honestly brings up another question is, what is her definition of a man? Like we can sit here and talk about, okay, what a man is supposed to do, what is a man not supposed to do, but at the same time, what does she consider a man? What is matter of fact, it actually gives me a question to ask, because I've asked the question before, but who in her family did she consider a man? Because that's what she's gonna look for if, you know what I'm saying, if she's questioning that. So then, I mean, it's other things that you would have to say before going to a relationship, because that's a big step. You gotta little steps, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Hey, so Alexis, I hope you answered your question. Give Alexis a round of applause.
Alright, this next question is from Danielle. She's right here in H-Town. Danielle says, I have bad judgment when it comes down to picking men. So I need the Brotherhood's help. How do you identify a godly man from a regular man? It's a good question.
That's an excellent question. Anybody answer that question? You know, I got my big brother in the back. You know, he gonna answer this question. I got a little something to say about it.
Can I have the question one more time?
This question is from Danielle. She says, I have bad judgment when it comes down to picking men, so I need the Brotherhood's help. How do you identify a godly man from a regular man?
So the first thing that I would say is, before she even takes a step on trying to identify a godly man, what's her relationship with God? Because I believe through my experience, right, the way that I even came across who my wife is was based off of my first foundation on who God was to me, my relationship with Christ. So that's how I would answer that question is, first, what's your relationship with God? Like, do you have one? Because if you don't, you will never be able to identify anything else but a worldly man.
I'm thinking about that question too, because now something just hit me, is that can a woman deal with a godly man? Because sometimes being a godly man is making sacrifices that does not look satisfying or pleasing to men. Would she be able to deal with a godly man? That's a good question, because a lot of us that believe in God don't really walk with God. So that question would be, after that, do you know what a godly man looks like? If you haven't dealt with one, then back to what you said, what is your relationship with God? You know what I'm saying? So I think that goes really back to, like, you know, okay, what can you do? Can you deal with a man actually loving God in the totality of God? You know what I'm saying?
Well, what's her name? Danielle. All right, because y'all beating around the bush with her question. She said, how can you tell?
Hold on.
So, no, I'm just kidding. I guess I would just say, when dating somebody, you have to get to know them and see how they are in their daily life. So if she's saying she wants a godly man, well, does he pray before y'all sit down and eat? Does he bow his head? Does he ever talk to you about God? I think sometimes when people say, I want a godly man, they look for somebody to come in like Moses. They don't part the Red Sea, you know, and come in with a cape on, like, I believe in God. Well, it's just the daily things. Like, before he goes to sleep at night, what does he do? Do y'all ever have these conversations? So just start small, because I think a big thing that we do as women, especially when we have goals, is that we set limits on ourselves, and then we're looking for a checklist. Does he do this? Does he do that? Does he do that? And then you can pass up on the opportunity of somebody who is, in fact, a godly man or a woman, if that's what you're looking for, but you just have to see how they are, because when we meet people, we're going to have a face on. You know, we're going to meet people we want to do right, we want them to like us. So, yeah, God this and God that. But what about after week 3? Am I still talking about God? Do I pray? So I think for her, the best thing to do is just get to know that person.
So I want to add to something that she just said. And so the reason I started out with the foundation is because we skip that step a lot of times. Like, we're trying to go find our husband, our wife, but we we went over the foundation and started trying to build on sand. And so it falls real quick. And so that's why I started at the foundation, but to kind of go into what you're talking about. And so a godly man, first and foremost, I like what my brother said, because a lot of times, and not just women, but even men, are looking for a super.
Come up here real quick this time in the front speaker. Give a round of applause as you come to the front, man.
He didn't want to do that.
And so, to finish off what I was saying, a lot of times we're looking for a Superman and Superwoman.
Right.
But with me and my relationship, we both have to die daily, because we're all sick people. So no matter who you're with, no matter if it's God and ungodly, you have to die daily. You're gonna have to see the ugly parts of that person and be okay with seeing it. But also making sure that they're not sticking in those ugly parts, but they're actually dying to that, and they're allowing themselves to let go of the pride, let go of the anger issue, let go of the attitude, let go of the lust, whatever it may be. But you're gonna have to be okay with having a person that's not perfect. That's not gonna be the one that you drew up on a piece of paper, but it's gonna be a human.
And one thing I feel like the very thing that my brothers talked about is having that time with God, getting it from the main source. How you gonna be the source of your household if you don't have no source? You think about any energy, any outlet, it comes from somewhere else. And so you're not getting that source from God, we get that source from. You absorb some type of information and dialogue and putting that towards your woman. And so sometimes as men, we have to check ourselves and say, hey, what she's telling me, is she's leading me in the right direction, the wrong direction? Like, is it something I would actually really need to do, really need to focus on? Because it might be just me. You know what I'm saying? I might not be leading her to the point that I need to be, or direct her in the path that she needs to go. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes we need to be checked. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Good Lord for
So one thing I'll say, the Creator has what we call the divine 9 attributes. It is intelligence, wisdom, knowledge, beauty, love, justice, foundation, power, and strength. And that makes up pure spirit attributes. When you meet a person, you see what's on the outside, but just like my brother said, and my sister said, you have to take the time, of course, to get to know something about that person, and you will have to see how they apply those things, those characteristics and attributes, how they apply that in their everyday life. And when you say a godly man, you have to understand, I'm pretty sure for the most part, people in here are probably come from Christian backgrounds and stuff. Paul made it clear that Lord's men are God's men, okay? There are plenty of gods, so like he said, what's the relationship? Because the sister sitting next to me, her God might be completely different from who I think God is. Who people believe Allah is not the same thing as who people believe Yahweh is. You understand what I'm saying? So I think you will be able to identify by paying attention to how they apply those characteristics and things in their life based on what your God said a man should be doing. Because in the Garden of Eden, if you start with the first man, Adam had to make a sacrifice for his woman. Just like the Christ, our Messiah, when he came as the second Adam, the life-giving spirit, he came to die for his bride. When the transgression happened in the Garden of Eden, Eve is not kicked out of the garden. Adam was kicked out. But what did Eve do? Eve followed her man because that's her husband. And it's a type and shadow of how we as the assembly are supposed to follow our bridegroom, our man, whom is the Messiah. So I think everybody made those very important parts. You have to start with the foundation of knowing who is this God that I say I follow and love. And then you have to look and see how is he applying the things that my God said a man is supposed to be doing and what he's supposed to be doing.
Anybody else?
I'm gonna add on to that real quick. So, my lovely wife is in the audience, Jasmine. So, I think the difference is things just fall into place when you're with the right person or you're with that godly man, godly woman. You don't have, there's gonna be struggles, there's gonna be trials, tribulations. But when you're with that right person, it's not gonna be as difficult. You're not gonna, if you're with somebody who wants to run, who can't handle just the pain that's going to come with that, it's going to be hard. But if you're with somebody that you have a solid foundation with, that whatever comes down, it can't destroy that, you're with the right person. You get what I'm saying? My wife, we were in 2 different cities. And for a lot of people, that may be hard to deal with. But we both had a solid relationship with God. It's not the best, but we had a solid relationship with God, and we were building something with each other. And so we were able to, those 6 months we weren't together, we ended up coming out here, and she found a job, I found a job, we found an apartment. Bam, that worked out for us. We get engaged, we end up getting a house. Like all these things just fell into place. You know what I'm saying? So I think you don't have to force it.
Yeah.
When it's God. You know what I'm saying? Some people run from what their purpose is. And so you have to force all these other things that you're not doing what your purpose is. You know? So when you're with your purpose, it falls. It falls in a lot. You know, it's not like I'm doing different. Everything just starts falling down by the wayside. I think that's the best way.
I'm gonna come through the back, but I'm kind of an abstract thinker. So as not to put the person that wrote on blast, I'm not gonna talk about myself. I'm going to use me as an example. I can't ask God for something that I'm not ready to receive yet. You know what I'm saying? So God placed what I need in front of me, but I'm not ready. I'm gonna run them off. A lot of times we don't like to do the sacrifice to receive the things that we ask for. I like to say hide and seek. We used to play hide and seek as a child. On Easter, we played hide and Easter egg. God will hide things in places that He asked you to go. Right? You've been talking about you're going to lose 10 pounds, I'm going to go to the gym. God put your man at the gym. You overslept that day. You missed out on that because now you're mad at God. Talking about He didn't come through for you. You said you're going to start cooking. You put your man in aisle 13 at Walmart. Guess what? You ain't ate Burger King today. You missed out on your blessing. You know what I'm saying? So, a lot of times we got to go through something in order to be equipped for what it is that we ask for. I was homeless at 18, 19 years old, right? And y'all gave me compliments on how nice of a person is, that, and third, but I had to go through something before I got here, right? So I'm not looking like I used to look. And had I not gone through what I went through, I certainly probably wouldn't be here today. So sometimes you got to self-regulate before God gives you what you ask for.
So Danielle, are you ready? I don't know what the camera is, but is she ready? Danielle, are you ready? Okay. If you ain't ready, he gonna be in aisle 13.
Hey, one thing I just want to give a round of applause to this young king. In this moment, man, we never know what somebody can go through. We all been through trials and tribulations in our life, but that's what makes us strong. That's what makes us get to this point that we want to see the change. We want to be the change that we want to see. We have to be the people that make the difference. But if not us, who's going to be? All right, see, I got somebody else. I got this boy named Chris from K. What's up, Chris? So it says, I am a very hard-working man, but my girl thinks I work too much. Is there a such thing as being addicted to sex? See, we had an episode about addictions, and we said it can be sexual addictions, it can be drug addictions, alcohol addictions, but people never think about being addicted to sex. You know what I'm talking about? We got somebody in the audience right quick. Give her a round of applause.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alicia. But to answer that question, I feel as though it would be on that person, the person who considers themselves a workaholic. You can be a workaholic, but can you do both? Can you work at home and on your job? If they're not putting in the effort to come home and work some more, as they claim they're a workaholic, it wouldn't be that much of a problem to squeeze in at least an hour. You work 12 hours, 16 hours, and then squeeze in an extra hour when you get home, just the intimacy with your partner, your significant other. Are you showing effort, or are you just coming and going like it's a hotel? If you just in and out, then I got no working. She's basically, or he or she is basically in a relationship by themselves. So you can't expect or request from your partner to, oh, we should understand. I understand, but I have needs as well. So if this is a partnership and we are in this together, I need some of you. I need something from you. Versus you just coming and going. Because at this point, I would look at it as, what am I here for?
Hey, and I want to go straight off of that. Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, that person can be nice, that person can be beautiful, that person can be everything that you can ever dream of in this world, right? But am I mentally stable for them? Am I spiritually stable for them? Can I afford to bring them in my life at the same time? I have to be ready for them, just like they need to be ready for me. So a lot of times we talk about being a man in the first episode. A man had to be responsible when it comes down to being spiritually, mentally, financially, physically, and different things like that. So if you try to bring this lady along, or if you pursue somebody and you're in a relationship, that relationship is part of one of your responsibilities. You brought that into your life. And so like we talked about even having babies with people, or even getting married, that's a responsibility that you are accountable for. What you think? You got something?
She mentioned something, she said work ethic. A lot of us get into situations and relationships that requires work, right? It requires work. The full totality of work. Not some of me, all of me. If we're gonna be in a relationship, you need to understand and overstand on the fact that I'm here with you. My addiction to my success should not come between what me and you got going on. Because at the end of the day, if I ask for this, or I feel like this is something that we need to work on, we need to be able to sit down. I need to be understanding of your feelings. I need to be attentive of your feelings. I need to make sure that I'm adhering to what you have a problem with. Is being addicted to success a bad thing? Absolutely not. But it will become a bad thing if you're connected to somebody and you're being selfish with your success on your end. That is where the problem comes in. And this is why women start to be confused about men. Watch this.
Come on now.
They start to be confused about it. So why? Because we start giving all this attention in the beginning. And we don't show some effort in our success in the beginning. But now that that's my woman, now the success, the work ethic that I have in my success, it's not as strong as it was in the beginning. But when I keep going, now it's like she gotta keep up with me. I'm not keeping up with her. But see, now it starts to confuse women sometimes because they're like, I thought we was on the same page. I know you got this going on, but what about me? When it becomes questionable, that's when it starts to become a problem.
And one thing, just to elaborate on and give it to you, bro. But one thing we have to understand with you is, whereas be truthful from the jump. Like, did she know you was a singer or entrepreneur or a dancer? Did she know your work ethic and what that consists of? A lot of times we jump into a relationship with people who don't know how badly they grind. Like staying up all night, coming home late, doing what they gotta do to be seen or doing what they gotta do to find connections. You have to actually think about that when you're dating. See somebody who fits like me. That's like the same way I can fit them. Like, hey, if you're an entrepreneur, we're an entrepreneur, we're gonna be great together because I'm gonna throw business moves off of you, you're gonna throw business moves off of me. It is like, you see a lot of people that fell in love at the gym. They love for working out, brought them closer together. But if I have somebody who's working at the hospital and I'm a singer, we never gonna see each other because I'm a singer at nighttime and you gonna be at the hospital all day. That ain't gonna connect. You're gonna be problems. You're like, I don't feel like it's the same chemistry. I don't feel like it's the same type of vibe that we had in the beginning because you didn't add up. When you're doing something in your purpose and they're doing something in their purpose, the purpose is not aligned. It got aligned. It's a yin and a yang. That gotta add up. Anybody else want to elaborate?
Just to piggyback on what you're saying, basically what happens if you think of life as attractive, we all line up on the start line. If I jump too early, that's called a false start. Sometimes you seek your blessings too early, you false start, right? So if I seek what I'm asking for too early and then I change, much like metamorphosis in the butterfly, if I'm seeking my mate when I'm a caterpillar, right? When When I'm walking to a butterfly, we're not connected the same way we was anymore. So I would say that his work ethic is not a problem. It's just they started that relationship too early. See, they got into a relationship where his work ethic was on zero. They were still in the starting box, right? So they false started, and now they disqualified. So that's just mine.
You know, one thing that brought up to me, I think we talked about it in one of the episodes, was we often, more times than, mostly all the time, forget about the single season. Saying that that person is not in a relationship, okay, yes, it's a single season, but also it comes with time with God, learning yourself, learn how to love yourself, respect yourself, trust yourself. Sometimes we have problems with ourselves, so how are we going to bring somebody else into that situation? You know what I'm saying? And once you have that time with God, and have time with yourself. When the last time somebody had time with themselves? Raise your hand. See, that's what I'm around, y'all. I don't think people got time with themselves. That's what I'm talking about. But what you said, brother.
So I want to be real because there's men in here and we do this a lot. And it's nothing wrong with liking success, but I think it's something that I learned through other relationships was keep the main thing the main thing. You're going to have to go to work. You're going to have to go get money, but that time that you need to invest into your woman and invest into the house, that's the main thing. Because God bless you with something that you really, to be honest, none of us deserve each other, but God blesses us with other people. So we got to keep that main thing the main thing. First time we move her out the way, now not only are we hurting ourselves by detaching from our woman, but we hurt her. So they need that love, they need that attention, and we're going from kingdom values. Jesus died for the bride. Same thing my daughter said. So we got to do the same. We got to protect our bride. We got to love our bride like Christ loved the church.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say something from like a different perspective because I know I can't speak for me, but as a woman, I know that we tend to become emotional or emotionally invested a lot easier and quicker than sometimes a man. So when you have that attention at the beginning, it's great, and it's something that we desire and we want to continue. But I also believe as a woman, if you're going to be committed to a man, and a man is the leader of the household, you must understand the vision. A man has a vision. You have to have that communication, and you understand the vision, and you understand your place within that vision. You've got to be able to work with that man and what he's going to be grinding. And so I always encourage women to also have your thing, because your man is not just your thing, but your purpose. We are a healthy, but you can't be a woman that if your man leaves on you, you have nothing to offer or to give. Yeah. So make sure that you are still like working on you for you, and when you do get that time, and when there is that time that you can spend together, which can even be, hey, we have date night on Friday nights. Maybe you work 6 days out of the week, Friday night is fine. Commit to that Friday night. Yeah, we can work around that, but it has to be, I believe that it has to be that communication, it has to be that vision. You have to know your placement, and you have to be able to work and work with your man, not against.
Come on now. Give it applause, man. Hey, so I get that answer. That we got a lot of questions, so we got it's gonna come around again. Yeah, we gotta get all of them. Yeah, we got people that need answers, man. You're right. All right, go ahead, Ron. You got it.
That's all of what we all talked about. I wouldn't say coincidentally, but it's very ironic how God allowed you to go through so much and realize that He was with you through every step. And the reason why I say that is everyone's answer summed up basically my mother and father's relationship. After 27 years, they got a divorce. And it was due to, one, their lack of communication with each other. My dad was a go-getter, he's a workaholic, that's where I usually get that from his go-to, and also from my mom. I'm not gonna knock that. What I did notice is that when my father would come home, he wouldn't invest into my mom, he would pour into her like he should have when he was early on, when I was younger. And even into my young brother and myself, so like that just felt like a domino effect off of everything else. From not even having even open mind, even open mind communication with each other, just for the small things. They'll come up to us for, like little stuff like kids, we're gonna do this, dad said we're gonna be doing that, stuff like that. And also just learning like those love languages of how she appreciates, of how she actually feels appreciated and loved. Because you'll have to identify what that is for her. Because every woman is going to be different, just like every man is going to be different. And without actually having that base line of communication with one another, so I'm saying like, hey, look, also what you said, like, look, this is my vision, this is where I said that we're going to, this is the direction that God has called me to go to. Are you with me? And that's a team effort thing too. It really is, because like there's certain things that God would want the man to do and the woman to be just right there at the tag team with. That goes hand in hand.
All right. So Chris, man, you could have found an answer. There's so many people that was talking today. The one answer that you can go home with, sit down with your man and just talk. Have that conversation and see where both of y'all visions are. All right, give Chris a hand of applause.
Next time on the Brotherhood season finale.
All right, this next question is from David. He's right out of Humble. He says, I recently realized that I've been using women only for self-fulfillment. I went to seek help, and the Brotherhood has also helped. So I have a question. What's a bad habit that you overcame?
Hey, David, let me tell you something. We wanna.
Next question.
Nah. We're gonna talk about. I just want to say thank you for watching the show, and just that's what we was doing, trying to live out our purpose, trying to answer them questions that people like us. We all been through this, but I'm gonna go ahead and get us to the question. Who gonna answer this question?
What's his name?
I mean, it's for men and women.
What's his name?
David.
I just want to say the key part in that is shout out to David because he said he actually went and got help.
Come on now.
I think that's a big thing to emphasize on because, like I always tell people, if you're able to identify a problem, then you should probably do something about it or else you're going to keep seeing the same results happen over and over. So just shout out to him. As far as the question, I'm going to let somebody else go first. Come on now.
Anybody else want to go first?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell part of my testimony. David, I hope you're listening, because if this don't help you, you're gonna have to call on Tyrone. Okay.
Come on. Hey family, make sure you subscribe to our Everyday Love TV YouTube channel. Just know the best is yet to come.